Clinic. Ealing Council is considering setting up protection zones to bar protesters from gathering outside the Marie Stopes clinic. Marie Stopes UK has described the move as groundbreaking and encouraged other local authorities to follow suit. The Good Counsel Network, one of the organisers of daily vigils at the centre, says the council is suppressing free speech. So, should protests at abortion clinics be banned? Well, joining us now to give their views are Anna White, the founder of pro-choice campaign group Sister Supporter, Charlie Peters, a journalist, Pam Lowe, a sociologist, and Alina is from the Good Counsel Network, one of those organising vigils at Ealing. Well, Anna, the right to protest surely is a key part of free speech. Should we really be banning this?
I think we need to be really careful about using the word protest in this situation, because the pro-life groups themselves repeatedly say this is not a protest, this is a vigil. And I think this is an example where, you know, the right to protest and freedom of speech is being slightly used as a sword as opposed to a shield. And the PSPO is about balancing the rights of those people and also the people using the clinic who have a right to access healthcare anonymously. And I think in this situation we really need to be asking the question as well, should we allow the harassment of people using that clinic to continue in clinics all over the country?
You mentioned PSPOs, they're public space protection orders. They're introduced in 2014 to help tackle antisocial behaviour in public areas. Alina, you considered having an abortion, but you spoke to people at one of these vigils and you changed your mind. Why should women who make a different choice have to walk past protesters like this?
I think we all made our choice when we walk in the clinic. I've made my choice to have an abortion because I didn't have other solution. So I've made my choice, but once I walked through that gate, it was a woman there saying that we can offer you help. And then I felt I do have a choice. I do have from where to choose yes or no. And I choose to not go ahead with abortion because I had from where to choose. I didn't have from where to choose before. But once they were there, I said, I don't have to do this.
But did they put you under any pressure at all?
Once I decided to have the abortion, I looked on Marie Stopes' website and was written that we can give you counselling and help to make the right decision. And now I felt that that is heart to heart. I can call them, and I said, I called them, I said, can I have some help? And they said, the only thing we offer is just abortion, nothing else.
This debate isn't about Marie Stopes, but what about those who go along to those clinics and don't want to have people talking to them and telling them perhaps you could do something different? They just want to go to the clinic. They've made the decision already?
I walked in as well. I made my decision, as I said. They offered me just a leaflet, nothing else. Just a leaflet, I looked at it, I turned around and I asked, what is with this leaflet? And then she told me, we can offer you help if you want to.
OK. Pam, how can you stop people protesting against the people they're opposed to? I mean, that's the whole point of protest, isn't it?
Well, I think we need to be very clear that it's not a normal type of protest. What happens all over the country, and our research has looked at these vigils in England, Scotland and Wales, is that there is a deliberate pattern of it trying to not just make women change their minds, but also actually shut clinics to prevent services from happening. And that's one of the remits.
So what sort of behaviour? What are they doing then?
So there's a whole range of behaviour. So we've seen things like women being sprayed with holy water, we assume it's holy water as they try and get into the clinic, that they're given fetus stoles, that they're given information which is not actually true, some medically inaccurate information. And because many of the people outside clinics, this is a religious position, and because of that, because their religion tells them that abortion is wrong, which they're perfectly entitled to that view, they believe that anything that they do, like to prevent women having abortion, is justified in the name of religion.
There are laws to stop antisocial behaviour. We should be using those. Banning protests seems really extreme, isn't it?
But, well, we do have laws, but they're not applied in these cases, but they are applied in other cases. So in 2009, for example, there were some anti-war protesters who held up signs which were offensive at an army vigil, and they were convicted. The reason that this isn't happening outside abortion clinics, I think, because this is a form of violence against women, and violence against women is never taken as seriously as other offences.
OK, interesting. The right for privacy for women as they go to these clinics, surely we should be thinking about that, those women, Charlie?
Yes, absolutely, and we should be doing what we can to respect women when they make this choice. Absolutely. We should trust women to go about this moral issue and tackle it in their own way.
So a ban is a good thing, then?
Not necessarily, because I think actually a ban, what you do there is you criminalise free speech and you are allowing the state to dictate which opinions are acceptable in public land. Now, these public space protection orders, which we've been talking about, are used to tackle antisocial behaviour like street drinking and violence and these kind of
throwing water on people going in and shouting at them and giving them dolls. I mean, things like that, surely.
That's already covered by the law. If there are cases of violence and harassment, that's already covered by British law. Having people demonstrating and voicing opinions and gathering to pray, that's not illegal, and it shouldn't be. We trust councils just about to fill in potholes and pick up our litter. We shouldn't trust them to determine what we can think and speak according to conscience.
Let's get another insight on this, Emma.
I'm joined now by Ruth Rawlins from Abort 67, a pro-life group. Good morning, Ruth.
Good morning.
Some members of your group, one of your signature parts of your style of protest is to hold up graphic images on placards as people go in. They're all over social media. They're actually too graphic for us to be allowed to show on BBC One at this time of morning. Do you understand why that might upset some women who are going in for abortions?
Yeah, these images are extremely upsetting because they depict the reality of abortion, and the reality of abortion is extremely upsetting, and that's why we believe that women should...
Your hand-picked vision of what a reality of an abortion looks like.
These are straight-up photographs of the abortion procedure. It shows the reality of that child, of the fetus or embryo, at whatever stage of life that child is in, and it shows the reality of that abortion. And we find that some women, you know, when they see this reality in which the abortion industry is actively trying to hide from them, that sometimes they'll change their mind and they'll keep their babies. We hear some women say...
But by being too graphic to put them on morning television, presumably you protest throughout the day, in the morning as well, when people have these appointments, do you not understand that they are incredibly distressing?
Our images have been passed by a court of law and they are legal to show in a public space. And
but my point is, we're trying to get to the mental health and how the women feel when your protesters are outside with these placards, peacefully demonstrating, but with placards. Do you accept that you will be distressing some women?
I mean, as we are a public education project, so we don't consider ourselves protesters. When we hold up an image of an aborted fetus, abortion protests itself. And it's interesting that the abortion industry is trying to shut down any other views apart from what it wants to give to the women. We find women say, I didn't know it had fingers, I didn't know it had toes.
Could you answer my question? Do you understand if some women find that distressing?
Yeah, I understand. I find the images distressing myself, but we shouldn't hide distressing things from the public. The news, you know, we don't hide distressing things from the public because people have every right to know the reality, to know the facts. So, you know, we don't hide. Women are big enough to handle the truth, and I think they should know the truth before they embark upon a procedure that's going to end the life of a child in the womb.
If Ealing Council do go ahead with this decision to ban protests, what will be the reaction of your network of protesters?
Well, we're going to continue. I don't see how it can pass because this is chilling for free speech everywhere, as we've heard from someone in your show. But harassment is already illegal, so you don't need to specify an area where harassment shouldn't be able to happen. And there's no evidence of any of these groups harassing women. It's simply giving information, handing a leaflet, as we've heard, and it's a case of them not wanting another opinion out there for women to see this reality. And we will continue to educate women, to inform women, because we know that women deserve to know the whole truth.
Even if you're banned, you'll continue?
We will continue to educate women on this issue.
Ruth Rawlins, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Emma, really interesting from Ruth there. Charlie, are we in danger of setting a precedent here if that ban is imposed?
Absolutely, yes. There's a slippery slope whenever you silence a speaker. I mean, people who might have opposition to these pro-life groups, they may find that by silencing these people, they actually potentially make a rod for their own back.
But as asking people to move 200 metres down the road is not exactly silencing people. That is all that will happen. So instead of being right outside the clinic, they can say exactly the same thing. They just have to move down the road, because this is about healthcare privacy.
But Pam, isn't it a slippery slope, though? You move the protest, then you ban the protest. We're going to be...
I don't think
it's the thin end of the wedge.
No, I don't think this is good. I mean, I'd like to ask Charlie here how he would feel if he came out of the doctors and someone was following him down the road with, oh, Charlie's having a prescription for Viagra today. How would you feel about that?
Well,
would you feel like that was an invasion of your healthcare privacy? Because this is what women go through every single day.
Well, there's no need to worry about that just now for me. Thanks very much. Although I do appreciate your concern.
But what would you... if someone is questioning you about personal things that you have done in the doctor's surgery, how would you feel about that?
That would be upsetting. I'm sure I'd find that very annoying. But if it's harassment, then it's already illegal.
But
if someone is...
Let Charlie finish.
Please. If someone's harassing me, then it's already covered by the law that they should stop harassing me. If someone is standing outside a visual, giving out leaflets, then it should not be illegal. Where there are individual cases in this scenario where people are breaking the law, by all means, prosecute them. I would support that. But banning all of these demonstrations and saying that they're illegal just because of what they are doing, that's not fair.
But Pam's point is that it's not happening, and the police aren't following these things up.
Maybe they're not following up because they're not happy themselves. If you can't provide
This is happening repeatedly. The reason why the police aren't following up, because those people going into a clinic are having a very distressing day. Their anonymity has already been breached. They're not then going to go through the lengthy process of filing a police report after a medical procedure and then going through a court case which is potentially public. This spaces order is to assist the police in correctly policing this issue. Once they're moved down the road, this isn't going to go any further. This cannot be applied to any other kind of protest. I would argue it's not a protest. The evidence we've had to gather to even get to this position with a petition could not apply to any other kind of protest. Displacement is exactly what is needed, and once that is achieved, that's fine, because then people have the option to talk to them if they wish further down the road, or they have the option to avoid them. OK, let's find out what people are saying at home. Emma?
Lots of you are getting in touch, including Ang Harrod, who says women who sometimes have no choice to have an abortion are made to feel like criminals. I myself had to make that difficult choice to terminate the pregnancy, and I can tell you now it was the hardest, most upsetting decision I've ever had to make. To find people protesting outside the clinics would have made the situation even more difficult to handle. Robert says, I believe these protesters should be looking deep inside their own souls and thinking really hard about whether they're making the right choice to be there. I can bet you the patients are. Women do not make this choice lightly. Alex says there's a time and a place to protest. Outside the clinic where these vulnerable women are is not one of them. What gives them the right to impose their opinions or religious beliefs upon those who are making very difficult personal decisions? And another one from Neil. Everyone has the right to peaceful protest. However, when people start to threaten others, it's a different matter. Then it should become a matter for the authorities. Keep your views coming in with the hashtag BBCSML. Sean.
Well, let's follow up on what Robert said there. The protesters, Alina, should look deep into their own souls. I mean, shouldn't the protests be held away from the clinic? These are vulnerable women, some of them.
Yes, they are very vulnerable in a desperate situation.
And you're capitalising on their vulnerability.
Yes, we are, because I've been myself at the vigil, praying at the vigil and handing the woman leaflet, and there's no harassment going on. I've been myself there with my little girl when she was 2 years old. It's no harassment. If you be any harassment, I will not be there.
Do you think it's right to have a 2-year-old child outside an abortion clinic? Do you not think that's going to cause a lot of distress? Do you think that's a good place for a child to be when they can't understand the issue at hand?
But the point is, she has every right to do that.
A 2-year-old child stand outside an abortion clinic?
We are just 3 people holding a rosary and playing, and she was playing, and we're just praying.
OK, let's let Alina finish.
It's nothing graphic, it's no harassment. My child felt safety to play there. It was a park, then we went to the park, we came back. She saw the picture of the baby laying down, and she saw the picture and said, Mommy, look, it's a baby, and she kneeled down and kissed the pictures. It was perfectly fine. There's no harassment going on. I'm handing myself the leaflet to the mothers.
OK, I'm afraid that is all we've got time for. A very interesting debate. Thank you all very much indeed.
Welcome.